Over the past 2 decades, I have developed a really cool kind of mental superpower where I generate ideas constantly. A lot of people come into the industry and they're very guarded. You know, they have their little first projects, little pet projects, their little babies. They're like, oh, this is mine. You cannot steal it. Do not steal. And they're very guarded and protective of their first projects. And then they're told, bam! Nobody gives a shit about your idea. Ideas in this industry are a dime a dozen. Nobody is lacking for ideas. I mean, The Walking Dead is just zombies. We've seen that 1,000 times. So if you wrote a vampire love story before Twilight came out, and now you're staring down the barrel of 1 billion copycats, and all you have is this one unpublished idea, you're in trouble. I mean, what are you gonna do? If you want to be a creator, you gotta keep making stuff. But how? How do you come up with something new? Well, the first thing I'll tell you is you can't. There's nothing new. Everything's been done before. But that's actually great news, because that means that whatever you create, whatever it is, there's already a market for it. But if you want to generate ideas that are new to you, there's one simple trick. Ask questions. I practically live in the hypothetical. I am constantly asking questions about the world in which we live and the way we live it. What if you had to register with the government and apply for a license to legally have a baby? That's the premise of Parental Control, a short film about the government's involvement in population control. What if that plastic bag floating in the wind was actually really trying to smother someone? That's the premise of Plastics Kill, an environmental horror film where plastic trash gains sentience and tries to eradicate the humans that are ruining the planet. What if you woke up tied in a basement and realized that your kidnapper had no idea why you were there? That's the premise of my short film Tied Up, where this kidnapper has short-term memory loss and for the life of him can't figure out why he has 3 people tied up in his basement. These what-if scenarios are a great way to generate ideas. But also, when I talk to my other film people, I'm constantly asking them questions that generate ideas too. Oh, you didn't like that movie? How would you do it differently? If you ask a creative person who is passionate about loving or hating something, they'll find an intriguing way to interpret it through their own eyes. I love Star Wars, but I know a lot of Star Wars fans that hate Star Wars. And so I love to ask them, how would you do a Star Wars film? How would you redo that film that you didn't like? And after listening to them for 45 minutes, you can look them in the eyes and say, okay, now go do that. Don't just ask other creatives, ask yourself. I have a 20-something page document about how I would do a Justice League cinematic universe that is older than the Snyderverse itself, and it's just sitting there in a hard drive somewhere. I'm not going to do anything with it. I could, but I won't. But I might. Lastly, and this is big, when I'm working with my clients, I ask them a ton of questions about the world that they've built, and I try to get questions in there that they may never have even thought of. Many years of playing Dungeons and Dragons have forced me to think about everything. But as people create their nice, cute little worlds, they sometimes forget about major implications that they might have. If you've built a fantasy world where people are one with nature, and it's not uncommon to see crazy, beautiful, exotic animals inside the city, there's probably going to be poop everywhere. How do you reconcile this beautiful, peaceful utopia with a systemic fecal problem? Maybe there's a sanitation division of the government that's paid handsomely to keep the city clean. There you go, a whole new system of characters to explore. There are so many ways to generate new ideas, but the easiest habit to get into is to just constantly ask questions. What do you care about? How would you change it? What do you hate? How would you make it better? And after you've asked that question, what's the story there? Ask questions.
It sounded like you said ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Ask questions. I generate ideas constantly.
I'm so sorry. Stop.
But how? How do you come up with something new? No. Maybe later. But for now, no. I'm a good folks person. I'm attractive. I'm handsome
Oh,
and I'm nice and people want to work with me.
yeah. Okay. Ready?
Sure. What?
Nothing. I was just complimenting myself.
Oh, good. Is that good, bad?
No, it's
Done?
good.
Okay. What the fuck was that? Sounded like a dog throwing up.
You said poop.
There's probably gonna be poop everywhere.
Like that, or how Jamie says it. There's
Poop.
I would make sure that all of my actors are consistent with their accents through the entirety of the film.
Like I said, I know Star Wars fans. They hate Star Wars.